You are about to unlock the 33rd degree of forbidden knowledge, the sacred wisdom once guarded by the ancients. Within these teachings lies the secret to the universe. Your thoughts are frequencies that command reality itself. As you listen, you'll remember what your soul has always known. You are the Creator. 33rd degree. Forbidden knowledge. Introduction. In the silent heart of creation, hidden beneath the veils of time, lies a truth so ancient that even the stars were born from it. Your thoughts are the architects of reality. This is not mere philosophy. It is the forgotten science of the soul, the divine mathematics by which consciousness becomes form. The universe itself is a symphony of vibration. Every thought you think sends a frequency through the living fabric of the cosmos, shaping the unseen substance that becomes your world. When you grasp this, you understand that manifestation is not sorcery, it is precision. Your mind is the sacred formula, your emotion the current, your belief the seal that calls spirit into matter. The initiates of old knew this law. They carved it into stone, wove it through sacred geometry, and concealed it behind symbols reserved for the worthy. Yet the greatest secret was never in the symbols, it was in the simplicity. At every moment, you are transmitting your essence into the quantum field, and the universe, in its infinite obedience, reflects not your wishes, but your vibration. To those who see, the path is clear. To attract abundance, become abundance. To receive love, be love itself. The outer realm is but a mirror of the inner temple, revealing the exact resonance you carry within. The power has always been yours, ancient, eternal, awaiting recognition. When you align thought, feeling, and belief, you awaken the architect within and command the elements of existence to obey. Creation does not respond to effort, it responds to frequency. Now the veil is lifted. The time has come to remember your initiation as a conscious creator. The universe listens in stillness, waiting for the next vibration you choose to send. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Mind That Creates. Chapter 1. The Hidden Engine of Thought. A young receptionist named Elsie sat at her desk each morning, bracing herself for the usual chaos of incoming calls, demanding visitors, and endless scheduling conflicts. Her shoulders would tense before the day even began, anticipating the familiar strain of juggling multiple demands. One morning, running late after a peaceful breakfast, she found herself too relaxed to summon her usual anxiety. Perhaps today will flow more smoothly, she thought absently, still carrying the tranquility of her morning. To her amazement, the day unfolded with remarkable ease. Calls spaced themselves naturally. Visitors arrived in an orderly sequence, and even her typically demanding supervisor seemed unusually patient. This accidental discovery revealed a truth as old as creation itself. Our assumptions silently shape the clay of our experience. What Elsie had unconsciously done was alter the electromagnetic frequency of her expectations. Rather than broadcasting anxiety, she had transmitted ease, and the universe had no choice but to match her signal. When you understand this principle, you realize that every image you hold in your mind, when combined with genuine feeling, becomes a mold into which universal substance must flow. Your thoughts are not merely passive observations. They are creative forces that magnetize corresponding conditions into your life. The ancient wisdom keepers spoke of this as the law of assumption. Whatever you accept as true in your imagination, while saturated with feeling, becomes the blueprint that reality must follow. This is not wishful thinking, but rather the precise operation of universal law. A woman named May discovered this truth during a period of intense worry about her business. Each night she would lie awake envisioning financial difficulties, until one evening she realized she was using her creative power in reverse. Instead of fighting against her concerns, she began to quietly release them, replacing worry with images of prosperity already achieved. She imagined checking her accounts and feeling peaceful satisfaction. She went about her days carrying this inner certainty, no longer trying to figure out how things would improve. Within weeks, new clients began appearing, unexpected opportunities arose, and her business flourished. Not through forced action, but through the natural unfolding that follows shifted consciousness. The universe cannot help but respond to your inner assumptions, for it is simply reflecting back to you the frequency you transmit. When you truly grasp this, you understand that expectation equals authorship of experience. Sacred practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, create a vivid scene that represents your dearest dream fulfilled. If it's a new home, feel yourself walking through the rooms, touching the walls, breathing in the fresh air. If it's a relationship, feel the warmth of loving connection. Hear the laughter, sense the deep companionship. If it's career success, experience the satisfaction of achievement, the joy of doing work you love. Don't merely visualize these scenes. Inhabit them completely. Feel the natural gratitude and contentment that would accompany their realization. Let this feeling saturate every cell of your body until you vibrate with the certainty of it. This is not pretending or fantasizing. It is tuning yourself to the frequency of what you wish to create. Fall asleep in this state, knowing that as you dream, the universal forces are already responding to your electromagnetic signature of fulfillment. Chapter 2. The Magnetic Field of Emotion. In the bustling streets of an ancient city, there lived a piano tuner named Hugo, whose gentle hands could coax harmony from the most discordant instruments. His gift extended beyond mere technical skill, for Hugo had discovered a truth about the invisible forces that shape our daily existence. As you are about to discover, Hugo's journey reveals the vital role of emotion in the manifestation process. While thoughts provide the blueprint for creation, it is feeling that breathes life into these ethereal designs. One autumn morning, Hugo approached his work with unusual lightness in his step, carried by memories of his daughter's first recital the previous evening. As he tuned each piano that day, his joy seemed to dance through his fingertips into the strings. Clients appeared from unexpected quarters, each encounter flowing seamlessly into the next. New opportunities arose effortlessly. A prestigious music school sought his services, and word of his skill spread through the city's finest concert halls. Yet when he returned the following week, troubled by a dispute with his neighbor, his typically steady hands felt heavy and uncertain. Though his technique remained flawless, doors that had freely opened now stayed mysteriously closed. Appointments were canceled, and potential clients chose other tuners without clear reason. This pattern revealed an essential truth. Emotion is not merely a response to life circumstances. It is the current that propels thought forms into physical manifestation. Your feelings charge your thoughts with the power to attract or repel corresponding experiences. The ancients understood this mystery well, teaching that the universe responds not to what you think, but to what you vibrate. When your emotional frequency aligns with your desires, creation flows unimpeded. When it contradicts your conscious wishes, even the most carefully laid plans meet with resistance. Consider the transformation that unfolded when Hugo discovered this principle. During a particularly challenging period, he found himself growing bitter about clients who haggled over his rates. With each negotiation, his resentment deepened, and his business suffered accordingly. Then he encountered an old master who taught him the art of emotional alchemy. Instead of dwelling in frustration, Hugo began each interaction by silently blessing his clients for the opportunity to serve. He cultivated genuine gratitude for their presence, regardless of the fee they could afford. The shift was immediate and remarkable. Not only did his existing clients begin referring others, but those who came now gladly paid his full rate, often adding generous gratuities. His daily experience transformed from a series of draining negotiations into a flow of joyful exchanges. The universe mirrors back to you the emotional essence you transmit. Like attracts like, not through mechanical repetition of words or thoughts, but through the magnetic power of feeling states. Your emotion is the propelling force that transforms possibility into actuality. Sacred practice. As the sun rises each morning, settle into a space of quiet contemplation. Call forth one cherished memory, a moment of pure joy, deep love, or complete peace. Allow this remembrance to fill your entire being until you can feel its warmth radiating through every cell. Now, holding this vibrant feeling state, bring to mind your heart's desire. Place your goal gently into this glowing field of positive emotion. Don't strain or force. Simply let your intention rest in this elevated frequency. Maintain this harmonious blend of treasured feeling and desired outcome for several minutes. You are not merely thinking about what you want. You are charging it with the emotional current that will draw it into being. This practice aligns you with the creative current of the universe itself. For it is not through thought alone, but through the marriage of clear intention and elevated emotion that your desires take form in the physical world. Chapter 3. Pictures that Speak to Infinity. In a sunlit studio at the edge of town, Gretelou sat at her drawing table, paintbrush poised above pristine paper. Her illustrations had always possessed a peculiar magic, though she hadn't yet realized the full extent of their power. One morning, she painted a crimson cardinal perched on a snow-laden branch. That afternoon, to her amazement, the exact bird appeared outside her window, its feathers matching every brushstroke she had laid down hours before. This was no isolated incident. A week later, her sketch of wild flowers sprouting through cobblestones manifested in the cracked sidewalk near her home. The universe, it seemed, was speaking through her art. Within the depths of your being lies this same creative force. The symbols and images you hold in your mind are not mere fantasy. They are the seeds of tomorrow's reality. Just as Gretelou's brush strokes became living things, your imagination shapes the world around you. When you envision something with clarity and feeling, You transmit a signal more powerful than words. Symbols bypass the analytical mind's doubts, speaking directly to the universal intelligence that orchestrates all creation. They are the original language of manifestation, predating speech itself. A grander demonstration of this truth unfolded when Greta Lu undertook her most ambitious piece yet. On a large canvas, she painted her dream home, a cottage among flowering trees, with morning light streaming through stained glass windows. She included every detail that brought her joy: the herb garden, the weathered brass door knocker, even the family of blue jays nesting in the eaves. Within months, events began aligning in unexpected ways. A relative mentioned a property for sale. Upon visiting, Greta Lu's breath caught in her throat. There stood her painted cottage, down to the very arrangement of flowers in the garden. Even the blue jays had taken up residence, exactly as she had illustrated them. This is the way of universal law. What you picture with emotional clarity must materialize in physical form. Your imagination is not mere fantasy, but a preview of possibilities waiting to emerge. When you engage in visualization, you are not dreaming idly, but programming the very fabric of reality. The symbols and images you hold in your mind are like seeds planted in fertile soil. Given the water of emotion and the sunlight of belief, they must grow into their physical counterparts. This is not magic, but natural law, as reliable as gravity itself. Just as Greta Lu's artwork became reality, your visualizations are blueprints for manifestation. The universe responds not to words, but to the vivid pictures you paint in your consciousness. Practice. Each day, find a quiet moment to sketch or visualize your ideal outcome in rich detail. See it clearly, feel it deeply, then release it with a light heart, like sending a joyful postcard to the universe. Trust that your vision has been received and is already in motion. The response will arrive in perfect time, often in ways more wonderful than you imagined. Chapter 4. The Voice That Casts Spells. In the mist-shrouded harbor, where waves whispered ancient secrets against weathered hulls, Edvin's voice echoed with familiar complaints. "Another delayed shipment," he muttered, watching cargo being loaded at a glacial pace. "Just my luck. Everything I touch turns to rust instead of gold." His words hung heavy in the salt air, and true to their nature, his days continued to unfold exactly as he described them. The universe operates through vibration. Every thought, every syllable resonating at its own frequency. Your words are not mere sounds disappearing into the void, but powerful signals broadcasting your expectations into the infinite. They are the architects of your experience, sculpting reality with the precision of a master craftsman. When you speak of lack, the universe cannot help but mirror that frequency. When you voice limitation, those very boundaries solidify around you. Yet within this truth lies extraordinary power. For just as negative words manifest their matching conditions, words of abundance, joy, and possibility summon their corresponding realities. Edvin discovered this wisdom through an unexpected encounter with an old sailor who spoke only in poetry and blessings. Intrigued by the man's perpetual good fortune, Edvin began to notice how the sailor's lyrical words seemed to dance with light, how his gentle phrases appeared to soften the very air around him. Gradually, Edvin transformed his speech. "I welcome abundance with open arms" replaced "I never catch a break." "Opportunities flow to me naturally" took the place of "nothing ever works out." As his words shifted, so did the frequency he broadcast to the universe. His days began to mirror his new language. Shipments arrived smoothly, colleagues responded warmly, and opportunities emerged as if summoned by his reformed vocabulary. "Your tongue is a wand, each word a spell cast into the fabric of creation. The universe knows no difference between casual speech and intentional decree. It simply matches the vibration you offer. When you speak of beauty, beauty finds you. When you declare abundance, abundance responds. This is not merely positive thinking. It is the conscious wielding of universal law. Your words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. Choose them with the care of a master gardener tending their most precious crops. A merchant named Sophia learned this lesson while restructuring her struggling business. Instead of dwelling on mounting challenges, she began speaking of expanding possibilities and evolving opportunities. Within weeks, unexpected partnerships emerged, creative solutions presented themselves, and her enterprise flourished, each success sprouting from the seeds of her transformed speech. Just as every note in a symphony contributes to the whole composition, every word you speak adds to the melody of your life. The language you choose shapes the reality you experience. This is not metaphor, but mechanism, the precise operation of universal law. Ancient practice for word alchemy. Consciously choose loving phrasing. Let compliments and calm words roll naturally, noticing how air itself seems brighter. Chapter 5. The Power of Stillness. In a bustling hospital corridor, where machines beeped their urgent messages and footsteps echoed against sterile walls, a nurse named Solveig discovered a truth as precious as life itself. Each day brought its cascade of emergencies, yet she noticed something peculiar. The solutions that eluded her frantic searching often materialized in moments of quiet certainty. One particularly chaotic morning, when supplies ran low and patients' needs mounted, Solveig observed her colleagues rushing about in growing agitation. Instead of joining the panic, she stepped into the supply room, closed her eyes, and took 3 deep breaths. In that moment of stillness, she recalled an unused storage area in the basement. There she found everything they needed, neatly organized and forgotten. The universe speaks in whispers, not shouts. When you quiet the mind's endless chatter, you allow the infinite intelligence that orchestrates galaxies to work through you. Like a still pond that perfectly reflects the moon, a calm mind becomes a pure channel for universal wisdom. Your subconscious mind, connected to the vast network of universal intelligence, knows the shortest path to your desired outcome. But this wisdom can only emerge when the surface of your thoughts grows still. Think of it as the difference between searching for a lost key in a whirlwind versus allowing your intuition to guide you naturally to its location. In the depths of your being, solutions are already forming, connections are being made, and circumstances are being arranged. Your role is not to force these processes through action, but to maintain the quiet expectation that allows them to unfold. A month later, Solveig faced another challenge. A critical medication was missing, and time was running short. Rather than succumbing to anxiety, she paused, centered herself, and waited. Within moments, a colleague from another department called, They had an excess of exactly what was needed. This is the hidden power of stillness, not as passive resignation, but as active allowing. When you resist the urge to push against life's challenges and instead rest in quiet certainty, you activate forces beyond your conscious control. Your calm expectation becomes a magnetic field, drawing to you the very circumstances you seek. Like Solvay, you too can access this power. When faced with any situation that seems to demand immediate action, first create a space of silence within. In that space, solutions arise not from your striving, but from your alignment with the universal flow. Practice. Settle into a comfortable position and spend 10 silent minutes focusing solely on your breath. As thoughts arise, whether worries, plans, or distractions, simply observe them passing like clouds across a vast sky. Don't try to change or control anything. Know that beneath this peaceful surface, the infinite intelligence of the universe continues its perfect work. Trust that while you rest in this silence, all things are being orchestrated for your highest good. Chapter 6. Listening to the Inner Guide. A tale passed down through generations speaks of Reynard, a carpenter whose hands shaped wood with uncommon grace. His workshop, filled with the sweet scent of cedar and pine, held more than mere tools. It housed a sacred understanding of life's subtle language. In the depths of winter, when work typically grew scarce, Reynard felt an inexplicable urge to walk through the old market district. Though logic dictated he should stay in his warm workshop, a gentle whisper within drew him forward. As he rounded an unfamiliar corner, his eyes fell upon a weathered building, its wooden facade telling stories of neglect. Yet something in his heart quickened. This, you must understand, is how the universe speaks, not through thunder and lightning, but through the soft nudges of intuition. These whispers are your expanded consciousness reaching through the veil, guiding you toward paths aligned with your highest good. Your intuition exists beyond the realm of thought. It operates in that sacred space between heartbeats, in the pause between breaths. When you silence the mind's endless chatter, you become attuned to this divine frequency, the language of pure knowing. Like water finding its natural course, abundance flows along the paths of least resistance. Your inner guidance system always knows these paths. It perceives the broader tapestry of possibilities that your conscious mind cannot grasp. When you learn to trust these subtle promptings, you align yourself with the natural current of prosperity. Consider how Reynard's story continues. Upon approaching the building, he met its owner, a merchant seeking someone to renovate not just this structure, but his entire chain of shops across the region. That single moment of following his intuition led to years of steady work and prosperity. But the true teaching lies deeper still. The universe speaks constantly through your feelings, through seemingly random impulses, through persistent thoughts that arise unbidden. These are not mere coincidences. They are the breadcrumbs leading you toward your highest good. Yet many walk past these signs, too busy listening to the mind's doubts and fears. Your logical mind seeks guarantees, but intuition deals in possibilities. It requires a different kind of trust, one that acknowledges that you are part of something far greater than your limited consciousness can comprehend. As rain must fall before flowers bloom, so must you trust before abundance can flow. Your inner guidance never shouts. It whispers, suggests, hints. Learning to hear and trust these subtle messages opens doors you never knew existed. The ancient practice. Whenever doubt clouds your path, place your hand upon your chest and whisper, "Show me the effortless way." Then follow the first calm impulse that arises. This sacred gesture connects you to the wisdom that resides within, allowing abundance to find you through the most natural channels. Chapter 7. The Mirror Principle. In a quaint corner of an ancient town stood a bookstore that held treasures beyond measure. Its owner, Ingrid, meticulously guarded every volume, watching customers with wary eyes as they browsed the shelves. Though her collection was vast and valuable, her grip on prosperity grew ever tighter as sales steadily declined. Each morning, Ingrid would count her inventory, marking prices higher to protect against loss. She measured success in what she kept rather than what she shared, unknowingly sending ripples of scarcity into the fabric of her reality. Customers sensed her distrust and hesitation, their visits becoming less frequent until the shop stood mostly empty, dust gathering on once beloved books. The universal law works with unwavering precision. Your outer world reflects your inner state with perfect accuracy, like a mirror that shows not just your physical form, but the very essence of your being. Life responds to your deepest beliefs about yourself and your relationship with abundance. When you hold yourself in low regard, treating your gifts as something to be hoarded rather than shared, the universe cannot help but echo this evaluation. Your thoughts about your worth become the measure by which the world values you. This is not punishment, but rather the infinite intelligence responding to your own signal with mathematical precision. Consider how a lake reflects the sky above. When clouds gather in your consciousness, shadows must appear in your experience. Yet when you shine with self-worth, reality has no choice but to mirror that light back to you. One day, while arranging her precious volumes, Ingrid discovered an ancient text about a merchant who learned to give freely of his wisdom and goods. The story touched something deep within her soul. She began greeting customers as honored guests rather than potential thieves. She started hosting reading circles, sharing her vast knowledge of literature with genuine joy. Gradually, her shop transformed. Where once stood a fortress guarding against loss, now flourished a sanctuary of learning and exchange. People were drawn to the warm atmosphere, and sales flowed naturally as visitors felt welcome to discover the treasures within. Her changed attitude toward herself and others had summoned a matching reality. The truth stands eternal. You cannot receive what you believe you do not deserve. Your self-image creates a boundary that abundance cannot cross. Yet when you recognize your inherent worth, accepting yourself as a worthy vessel for prosperity, the universe responds in kind. Your experiences are not random events, but faithful reflections of your inner state. Every interaction, every circumstance, every outcome carries a message about your relationship with yourself. When you understand this principle, you hold the key to transformation. The practice. When conflict appears in your life, pause and say, "Thank you, reflection." See it as a mirror showing you where inner adjustment is needed. Rather than fighting the external circumstance, shift your self-perception until harmony returns. Let each challenge become an opportunity to align more deeply with your true worth. Chapter 8. The Art of Surrender. Along the misty shores, a weathered sailor named Emile battled against unfavorable winds. Day after day he strained against nature's rhythms, forcing his vessel through resistant waters. The more he wrestled with the elements, the more the winds seemed to withdraw, leaving his sails limp and his journey stalled. His determination had become his prison, his rigid control the very anchor holding him in place. Within you lies this same tendency, the impulse to grasp, to force, to wrestle your desires into being. Yet the universe operates through an ancient paradox. What you chase often flees, while what you release returns of its own accord. Your tight grip on outcomes creates resistance in the very fabric of creation. The law of surrender reveals that true power flows not from control but from alignment. When you release your iron grip on how and when your desires must manifest, you open yourself to the infinite intelligence that orchestrates galaxies. This wisdom knows pathways you cannot fathom, timing you cannot calculate. Consider how water flows, not by forcing its path, but by yielding to gravity's pull. In its surrender lies its unstoppable power. Similarly, your manifestations arrive not through strain, but through allowing. The universe responds not to your effort, but to your state of being. Resistance is born of fear. Fear that unless you maintain constant vigilance, your dreams will slip away. Yet this very fear creates interference in the natural flow of abundance. When you trust in the perfect unfolding of divine timing, you enter a state of receptivity that attracts rather than pursues. A second tale speaks to this truth. In a bustling port town lived a merchant named Raphael who had lost everything in a failed venture. For months he schemed and struggled to rebuild, each desperate plan falling short. One night, exhausted by his striving, he finally surrendered his need to control the outcome. He simply said to the universe, "I trust you know the way." The very next morning, a letter arrived with news of an unexpected inheritance. Within weeks, opportunities began flowing effortlessly into his life. Partnerships, investments, and ventures far exceeding his original plans. His surrender had cleared the channel for abundance to reach him naturally. This mirror of possibilities awaits your own surrender. When you release your rigid expectations and trust in the wisdom of universal timing, you allow your good to find you through channels you could never have planned. Sacred practice. Take a single sheet of paper and write your heart's desire upon it with calm certainty. Hold it between your palms and infuse it with blessing, acknowledging that the universe knows the perfect path and timing for its manifestation. Fold the paper 3 times, moving away from your body, symbolizing release. Place it beneath a white candle, allowing its flame to represent your unwavering faith in divine orchestration. Let the candle burn as a symbol of your trust in perfect timing. Chapter 9. The Law of Expectancy. In the grand concert hall of life, a violinist named Dahlia prepared for her performances with an unseen weight upon her shoulders. Though her fingers knew every note by heart, she approached each concert anticipating mistakes, discord, and the harsh judgment of critics. Like a self-fulfilling prophecy, these fears materialized. Strings squeaked, timing faltered, and her music emerged hesitant and strained. Your thoughts cast similar shadows or light upon your path. The law of expectation reveals that what you anticipate becomes the lens through which reality filters itself into being. This sacred principle operates with unwavering precision, transforming your deepest assumptions into experience. One evening, as Dahlia prepared for a crucial performance, an ancient wisdom stirred within her soul. Instead of bracing for failure, she began to envision perfection flowing through her bow. She held the image of flawless harmony, of music that would touch hearts and lift spirits. As she stepped onto the stage, something had shifted. Her violin sang with unprecedented grace, each note pure and pristine. The very air seemed to shimmer with possibility. When you align your expectations with the highest good, the universe conspires to meet you there. Your anticipation becomes the template upon which manifestation builds its wonders. Through this law, you possess the power to shape the very substance of your experiences. This truth revealed itself once more through a humble street musician named Thomas. Each morning, he positioned himself on a busy corner, violin case open before him. Unlike others who hoped for spare change, Thomas played with absolute certainty that his music would touch souls and bring abundance. His unwavering confidence drew crowds, and soon his case overflowed with appreciation, both monetary and spiritual. The message rings clear. Your expectancy shapes the blueprint of manifestation. What you assume becomes the foundation upon which your reality builds itself. This is not mere positive thinking, but rather the activation of an eternal law that responds to your deepest convictions. Just as Dahlia discovered that expecting harmony transformed her performances, your own expectations silently orchestrate the symphony of your life. The universe mirrors back to you exactly what you project into it, with perfect fidelity. Each dawn murmur, "The best is unfolding now," breathing gratitude until optimism feels natural. Note, I've provided the text as requested, incorporating the violinist Dahlia's story, the teaching about expectation shaping reality, the second story about Thomas, and concluding with the specified practice. The text maintains the mystical yet practical tone while following the template structure. Chapter 10, The Alchemy of Gratitude. In a bustling post office, Otto sorted letters with mechanical precision, his hands moving through the familiar motions day after day. The endless stream of envelopes and packages might have seemed tedious to many, but Otto had stumbled upon an ancient secret that transformed his mundane task into a daily celebration of abundance. With each letter he handled, Otto whispered a silent "thank you" for the connection it represented, for the job that sustained him, for the simple miracle of written words bridging distances. As weeks passed, an extraordinary shift began to unfold. His workspace seemed to glow with an invisible light, drawing colleagues toward his station with smiles and friendly conversations. The universe responds to gratitude with mathematical precision. When you acknowledge the gifts already present in your life, you activate an eternal law that multiplies your blessings. Like a magnet becoming stronger through consistent use, your appreciation strengthens the attractive force of your consciousness. Your thankfulness sends ripples through the fabric of creation, touching the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all things. This power does not distinguish between small appreciations and grand ones. It simply amplifies whatever you choose to bless with your attention. Otto's simple practice bore unexpected fruit. One morning, he found a forgotten letter wedged behind a sorting machine. Instead of seeing it as an inconvenience, He expressed gratitude for the opportunity to ensure its safe delivery. That letter belonged to a renowned artist who, moved by Otto's conscientiousness, gifted him with an original painting. More remarkably, the artist's presence in the post office that day led to a friendship that opened doors Otto had never imagined possible. When you cultivate thankfulness, you align yourself with the natural flow of abundance. Each thank you becomes a seed planted in fertile soil, growing into manifestations that surpass your expectations. This is not mere coincidence. It is the law of gratitude in action. Through seemingly small acts of appreciation, Otto had activated a force greater than himself. His genuine thankfulness created a magnetic field that attracted more reasons to be grateful. His colleagues began leaving small gifts on his desk. Customers requested his window specifically. Even his modest salary felt more abundant as his appreciation transformed his perception of what he already possessed. The universe mirrors your inner state with perfect precision. When you choose gratitude as your default response, you signal to the infinite that you are ready to receive more. This is not about denying challenges or pretending hardships don't exist. It's about maintaining an awareness of the abundance that flows ceaselessly, even in difficult times. Sacred practice. Before sleep tonight, speak these words with feeling. I am grateful for, name 3 current blessings in your life. I thank you now for, name 3 desired manifestations, which are already moving toward me. Let a smile touch your lips as you recognize that your gratitude has already set these gifts in motion. Feel the warmth of appreciation in your heart, knowing that what you have blessed with thanks is already vibrating into form. Part 2. The Power That Responds. Chapter 11. Vibration Never Lies. In an ancient village square, a tailor named Astrid worked in her small shop, her nimble fingers dancing across fabrics of every hue and texture. Each garment that passed through her hands carried more than mere thread and cloth. It bore the invisible imprint of her spirit. Through years of crafting garments, Astrid noticed a peculiar pattern. When worry clouded her mind, the stitches would somehow reflect her unease, requiring countless adjustments. Yet on days when joy filled her heart, the needle seemed to glide effortlessly, creating works of incomparable beauty. The truth reveals itself through such observation. Your emotional vibration weaves itself into everything you touch, everything you create. Each thought, each feeling emanates a frequency that ripples outward, touching the very fabric of reality. Like a stone cast into still waters, your inner state creates waves that return to you multiplied. This vibrational language speaks louder than words, clearer than actions. It is the primary dialogue between you and the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all creation. Before a single word is spoken, before any action is taken, your vibration has already announced your arrival and set the stage for what follows. Picture yourself as a living bell, constantly ringing with tones of your choosing. These tones, your thoughts, feelings, and expectations, travel through the ether, attracting harmonious frequencies back to you. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not respond to your words or deeds nearly as much as it echoes your vibrational offering. A second story speaks of this truth. In times when business slowed, Astrid discovered that humming ancient melodies while she worked would lift her spirits. She began each morning with this simple practice. filling her shop with gentle vibrations of contentment. Soon, customers started appearing as if drawn by an invisible thread. They spoke of feeling inexplicably welcomed, somehow sensing the joy that permeated every corner of her shop. What appeared as coincidence was actually the law of attraction responding to her raised vibration. The hum of her happiness created a magnetic field that drew others naturally toward its source. Her success grew, not from advertising or effort, but from the simple act of maintaining a high vibrational state. This truth applies to your own path. What you seek must first be found within. The outer world rearranges itself to match your inner frequency. Like Astrid, you need not force or struggle. Simply maintain the vibration of what you desire, and watch as life responds in kind. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and begin to hum softly, allowing the sound to resonate in your chest. As the vibration builds, envision your deepest desire floating within that tone, becoming one with its frequency. Continue until you feel a gentle tingling sensation spread through your body. This is your signal that you've aligned with the vibration of your desire. Practice this ancient attunement daily, knowing that your frequency becomes your reality. Chapter 12. Signs and Synchronicities. In the quiet corners of time, where minutes tick and seconds dance, a watch repairman named Henrik tended to the delicate heartbeats of timepieces. Each morning, as he opened his small shop, he began noticing curious patterns. The same numbers appearing on clocks brought in for repair, identical initials engraved on watch faces, or similar dates etched into metal backs. At first, he dismissed these recurring symbols as mere coincidence. Yet, as you will come to understand, the universe speaks in whispers of synchronicity, leaving breadcrumbs of guidance along your path. When you align with the flow of universal energy, signs begin to emerge like stars at twilight. These are not random occurrences, but rather the language of the infinite speaking directly to your consciousness. Just as a compass needle responds to magnetic fields unseen by human eyes, your awareness naturally attunes to these divine signals when you remain receptive. Henrik's awakening to this truth unfolded gradually. He started keeping a small notebook, recording the patterns that caught his attention. Soon, he realized these symbols often preceded significant events or guided important decisions. The number 7 appeared repeatedly before profitable opportunities. The letter M showed up consistently before meaningful connections. This sacred dialogue between you and the universe operates continuously, though often unnoticed. It manifests through repeated numbers, animal messengers, overheard conversations that answer unspoken questions, or books falling open to exactly the passage you need. These synchronicities serve as confirmation that you walk in harmony with your highest path. Consider the tale of Henrik's most transformative experience. For weeks, he encountered the number sequence 218 everywhere. On clocks he repaired, house numbers he passed, even receipts from his morning coffee. Though uncertain of its meaning, he remained open to its message. One morning, February 18th, a stranger entered his shop seeking help with an antique pocket watch. Their conversation revealed shared dreams of expanding their businesses. This chance meeting led to a flourishing partnership that transformed both their lives. The universe orchestrates such coincidences with precise timing and perfect wisdom. These signs serve as gentle nudges, confirming you move in alignment with your highest good. They appear not to direct your path, but to assure you that unseen forces support your journey. Just as Henrik discovered, these symbols speak most clearly when you approach them with childlike wonder rather than skepticism. They whisper of possibilities and illuminate the way forward, one synchronistic moment at a time. Your practice for awakening this awareness is elegantly simple. Request a friendly sign by saying, "Show me I'm aligned," then notice and thank whatever appears. This opens a channel of communication between your conscious mind and the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of creation. Trust that what you seek is also seeking you, and the signs will illuminate your path with divine precision. Chapter 13. The Cleansing Power of Forgiveness. A young florist named Olivia arranged her blossoms each morning, weaving beauty from stems and petals. Yet a shadow lingered in her heart, bitterness toward the florist across town who had once spoken ill of her work. This resentment clung like thorns, dulling the vibrancy of her own creations. Each time a customer mentioned the other shop, Olivia felt her chest tighten and her mood darken. The weight of this grievance became a constant companion, invisible yet ever present. Until one dawn, as she trimmed roses in her quiet shop, wisdom bloomed within her heart, like a flower opening to first light. The universe operates through channels of energy, flowing like water through countless tributaries of experience. When you hold on to resentment, you dam this sacred current. Your resistance creates stagnation, preventing fresh possibilities from reaching you. The person you refuse to forgive becomes a block in your own stream of abundance. The moment you release another from your judgment, you free yourself. This truth rings through the ages. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the ultimate power. For in pardoning others, you dissolve the very barriers that limit your own expansion. To demonstrate this eternal principle, observe how Olivia's story continued to unfold. One afternoon, she consciously chose to release her resentment. Standing among her flowers, she whispered words of blessing toward her rival. Something shifted in that instant. A lightness entered her movements. Her arrangements flowed with renewed grace. A week later, an unexpected event illustrated the perfection of universal law. A wealthy client requested wedding flowers so elaborate that neither shop could fulfill the order alone. The other florist, sensing Olivia's transformed energy, suggested they collaborate. Together they created such magnificent displays that both shops gained renown throughout the region. This simple act of releasing judgment had cleared the channel for prosperity to flow. What appeared as loss of pride became the gateway to greater abundance. The very person Olivia had viewed as an obstacle became an instrument of her success. Your perceived enemies are often disguised teachers, offering opportunities for spiritual growth. When you bless those who seem to oppose you, you transmute that resistance into support. The universe responds not to your words or actions, but to the energy you emanate. The practice of forgiveness realigns your frequency with the natural state of abundance. Just as a kinked hose prevents water's flow, held resentment restricts your good from manifesting. Release the resistance, and watch how swiftly life responds with unexpected gifts. Ancient practice. Before bed, breathe deeply and say, "I bless all who crossed me. I free us both." sleep in peace. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. Faith Made Effortless. In a small workshop filled with half-finished contraptions and scattered blueprints, an inventor named Leaf labored endlessly over his creations. His latest innovation, a device to harness renewable energy, consumed his thoughts day and night. Each morning, he would rush to his workbench, anxiety coursing through his veins as he calculated the dwindling days until his funding ran dry. The universe whispers its truths through the simplest moments. One afternoon, exhausted from another fruitless attempt to perfect his design, Leif stepped into his garden. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, and he watched a seed pod float effortlessly on the wind, traveling farther than any forceful throw could have sent it. In that moment, understanding dawned. Nature accomplishes its greatest feats without strain. The creative force that moves through all things requires no push, no anxious effort. It flows with serene certainty, knowing the perfect path already exists. When you release the grip of worry and rest in unwavering faith, you align with this same effortless power. Trust is not passive waiting. It is active alignment with the invisible current that carries all dreams to their fulfillment. Like the seed floating on the breeze, your desires seek their natural completion through the path of least resistance. Strain and struggle only create turbulence in the smooth flow of manifestation. Your role is not to force the outcome, but to maintain the clear, calm frequency of absolute knowing. A month later, Leif sat in his workshop, playfully sketching improvements to his design without the previous desperate energy. A spontaneous chuckle escaped him as he realized how simple the solution was. It had eluded him during all those tense hours of searching. That very afternoon, a knock at his door announced an unexpected visitor, an investor who specialized in renewable energy projects. The man had been drawn by the sound of Leif's laughter carrying through the open window. When you approach creation with lightness of heart and steadfast trust, the universe conspires to support your vision. Your relaxed certainty becomes a magnetic force, drawing exactly what you need at the perfect moment. The path opens not through strain, but through surrender to the wisdom that orchestrates all things. Practiced release. When worry arises, replace it with humor. Smile knowingly, saying, "It's already arranged." Chapter 15. Inspired Action. A brush lay untouched on Birgitta's easel as she stared at the blank canvas, paralyzed by self-doubt. For months, her paintings had gathered dust in galleries, each calculated brushstroke failing to capture the vibrancy she envisioned. One evening, as shadows lengthened across her studio floor, an unusual warmth spread through her chest. Without thinking, she picked up her brush and began to paint. Colors flowed from her hands as if guided by an invisible force. She lost track of time, surrendering to each intuitive stroke. When dawn broke, before her stood a masterpiece unlike anything she had created before, a luminous landscape that seemed to pulse with living light. Within hours of displaying it, the painting found its perfect admirer. The law of inspired action reveals itself through such moments of grace. When you release the grip of forced effort, divine intelligence flows through you unobstructed. Your role is not to manufacture success, but to align with the current of creation that already knows the perfect path. Trust replaces struggle when you recognize that the universe's wisdom surpasses your careful planning. This sacred truth echoed in the story of a young artist named Solomon. Unlike his peers, who meticulously planned each piece, he learned to wait for what he called the golden nudge, that subtle inner knowing that signaled the right moment to create. One day, rather than forcing himself to complete a commissioned piece, he followed an unexpected urge to walk by the ocean. There, watching waves dance in morning light, inspiration struck. He rushed home and painted his finest work, which later opened doors to galleries that had previously refused him. Your inner compass always points toward effortless fulfillment. The weight of resistance signals when you're pushing against the natural flow. Yet when action arises from alignment, it carries the lightness of divine timing. Notice how strain dissolves when you move in harmony with universal intelligence, rather than against it. What appears as spontaneity to others is actually perfect orchestration, your deeper self coordinating with infinite wisdom to manifest your desires. The universe doesn't require your exhaustion or struggle. It asks only for your willingness to be guided. This truth applies to every area of life. When aligned action replaces forced effort, miracles unfold naturally. Your task is not to make things happen, but to attune yourself to the rhythm of divine timing and trust the nudges that arise from within. Ancient practice. Before taking action, pause and check your inner state. Place your hand over your heart and ask, does this next step feel light or heavy? If lightness fills you, proceed with confidence. If heaviness persists, wait in patience until clarity returns. This simple practice aligns you with the effortless way of creation, where inspiration replaces strain and grace supersedes struggle. Chapter 16. Rewriting the Inner Script. In a small village among snow-capped mountains, a clockmaker named Torvald worked meticulously in his shop, surrounded by the gentle ticking of timepieces. Each morning he would unlock his door, muttering the same words his father had spoken. "We must work twice as hard for half as much." These inherited words echoed through generations of his family, as familiar as the sound of his grandfather's pocket watch. Like the intricate gears he repaired daily, these phrases turned endlessly in his mind. Money slips through our fingers. Wealth belongs to others. Be grateful for what little comes. Yet one day, while adjusting a particularly delicate mechanism, Torvald noticed how a single misaligned gear affected the entire clockwork. This observation sparked an understanding. His family's words were like misaligned gears in his mind's machinery, creating patterns of lack that repeated with mechanical precision. With this awareness, Torvald began consciously replacing each limiting phrase. "Money flows abundantly," replaced "money slips away." "Prosperity seeks me out," superseded "wealth belongs to others." Each new thought felt foreign at first, like fitting new parts into an antique timepiece. But with patient repetition, these fresh perspectives began ticking in harmony with his desires. The universe responds to the frequency of your deepest beliefs. Your subconscious mind, like fertile soil, nurtures whatever seeds are planted within it. Through consistent repetition, charged with emotional certainty, new patterns take root and flourish. Consider the tale of Marcel, a merchant whose shop stood adjacent to Torvald's. For years, Marcel's business struggled under the weight of his father's warning. "Our kind never prospers." Then one spring morning, inspired by Torvald's transformation, Marcel began affirming, "Abundance flows naturally to me." At first, nothing seemed to change. But as Marcel persisted, replacing doubt with expectation, remarkable shifts occurred. New opportunities appeared. Customers increased. His shelves, once sparse, grew abundant with goods. Most significantly, his children began speaking of possibility instead of limitation. This simple yet powerful truth reveals itself. Your inherited beliefs about prosperity are not your destiny. They are merely programs running in the background of your consciousness, ready to be rewritten. Every time you consciously choose a new thought pattern, you alter not only your own future, but the legacy you pass forward. The key lies not in forcing change, but in gentle, persistent reprogramming. Like water wearing away stone, consistent new thoughts gradually carve fresh channels for abundance to flow. Ancient practice. As you prepare for sleep each night, lie quietly and repeat these words. "I permit plenty." Let this phrase become your lullaby, flowing naturally until sleep embraces you. This practice, performed in the twilight state between waking and dreaming, plant seeds of abundance in your deepest mind where tomorrow's reality takes root. Chapter 17. The Leap of Belief. Along the cobbled streets of an ancient marketplace, a seamstress named Maribel worked in a tiny shop, her nimble fingers dancing across fabrics day after day. Though her skill with needle and thread was extraordinary, her prices remained modest, matching her deeply ingrained story of limitation. Each evening, as she closed her shop, she would pass the grand boutiques, their windows showcasing elaborate gowns that commanded prices far beyond what she dared to charge, until one remarkable dawn when something shifted in her inner vision. That morning, Maribel sat before her mirror, and, instead of seeing the struggling artisan, she glimpsed herself as the master craftswoman she truly was. In that crystalline moment, she allowed herself to feel worthy of abundance. She began speaking to herself as though prosperity already embraced her, treating her talents as treasures rather than tools of mere survival. The universe responds to the signal you transmit, not the circumstances you see. When Maribel altered her self-image, reality had no choice but to reshape itself accordingly. Within your consciousness lies a creative force so potent that it molds the very fabric of experience. Your beliefs are not merely thoughts, they are commands to the infinite. Consider how a seed contains the complete blueprint of a mighty tree. Similarly, your dominant beliefs carry the full pattern of their own fulfillment. The outer world must conform to your inner certainty, for this is the law that governs all manifestation. As Maribel's vision of herself expanded, remarkable shifts began occurring. A wealthy merchant's wife noticed her work and commissioned an entire wedding party's attire. Soon, aristocratic ladies whispered her name in their circles. Her once quiet shop hummed with activity as those who appreciated true artistry found their way to her door. This transformation wasn't magic. It was law in action. The moment you upgrade your self-concept, you transmit a new frequency that attracts corresponding experiences. Your story about yourself is the foundation upon which all manifestation builds. In the quietness of evening, Maribel would sometimes marvel at how swiftly abundance had flowed once she permitted herself to receive it. Yet she understood that the change had originated not in her circumstances, but in her consciousness. When you recognize that your beliefs script your reality, you hold the key to rewriting your life's story. The universe neither judges nor resists. It simply matches your predominant expectations with mathematical precision. What Maribel discovered is available to all. Your current situation is merely the physical expression of yesterday's beliefs. Change the inner narrative, and outer circumstances must realign to mirror your new understanding. Practice. Sacred statement of being. Find a quiet moment as the sun rises or sets. Stand before a mirror, meeting your own gaze with gentle power. Speaking in clear, measured tones, declare your highest truth about yourself. Feel each word resonating in your cells, knowing the universe bends to match your certainty. Smile as you speak, for you are activating ancient creative forces that have waited eternally for your command. Let your declaration ring with the authority of one who knows their words shape worlds. Chapter 18. The Currency of Joy. Within the cobbled streets of an ancient town, a baker named Anders crafted loaves that nourished both body and spirit. His small bakery, though modest in size, held an invisible ingredient that transformed ordinary days into moments of magic. One morning, as sunlight painted golden streaks across his flour-dusted counter, Anders discovered a truth sweeter than any pastry. A group of children had gathered outside his window, giggling at his theatrical method of kneading dough. Instead of shooing them away, he embraced their presence, adding extra flourishes to his movements. Their laughter grew, drawing parents who couldn't help but smile themselves. Each one left with warm bread and warmer hearts. The universe speaks in the language of vibration, and joy resonates at the highest frequency. When you align with this natural state of being, you tap into the creative current that shapes reality. Your genuine happiness becomes a beacon, drawing to you experiences that match its luminous signal. As days passed, Anders noticed his bakery filling with customers who seemed drawn not just to his bread, but to the atmosphere of delight he cultivated. Without spending a single coin on advertising, his business flourished through the magnetic power of authentic joy. His competitors posted elaborate signs and offered discounts, yet customers consistently chose his shop, where laughter seasoned every interaction. One particularly challenging morning, when his ovens malfunctioned and orders piled high, Anders remembered the lesson. Instead of surrendering to stress, he chose to find humor in the chaos. He began singing old folk songs while working, his voice carrying through the open windows. Soon, neighbors joined in, turning potential disaster into an impromptu celebration. That day brought more customers than any before, proving that joy attracts abundance more powerfully than any strategic plan. Your state of being broadcasts a signal that the universe must match. When you choose happiness regardless of circumstances, you align with the natural flow of creation. This alignment opens channels through which abundance flows effortlessly. A simple smile contains more manifesting power than hours of forced effort. Anders demonstrated this truth by simply allowing his natural joy to radiate. His playful spirit became his most powerful asset, transforming his modest bakery into a beacon of prosperity. In the space where happiness dwells, miracles unfold naturally. Your joy is not just an emotion, it is a creative force, a magnetic field that draws corresponding experiences into your reality. When you choose to nurture this vibration, you speak directly to the universe in its native tongue. Ancient practice. Find simple delight hourly. Nurture it like a secret ingredient in your vibration. Let each moment of joy, no matter how small, remind you of your natural state of alignment with infinite possibility. Chapter 19. Time and Divine Timing. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant sat beneath ancient stone arches, displaying timepieces of exquisite craftsmanship. Among his daily visitors was Karin, a student who often paused to gaze at the gleaming clock faces, her own face etched with worry about arriving late to her studies. Each morning she would rush past, her anxiety creating a whirlwind of scattered energy. The merchant noticed how her hurried footsteps seemed to stretch time like taffy, making her later with each panicked glance at her watch. One day, as she nearly stumbled in her haste, he called her over and shared a simple truth. Time bows to those who bow to it first. Time flows like water through your fingers. Grasp too tightly, and it slips away faster. Each moment arrives precisely when it should, carrying its own perfect timing. When you resist this flow, you create friction that stretches seconds into hours of perceived delay. The universe operates on divine timing, not human schedules. Your role is not to push against this cosmic clockwork, but to align with its natural rhythm. When you release the need to control time's passage, you enter a state of timelessness where synchronicity becomes your natural companion. Consider how a flower blooms. It neither rushes nor delays. It simply unfolds according to an intelligence far greater than human planning. This same intelligence orchestrates every aspect of your life, bringing each element into perfect position at the exact moment required. Your perception of time directly influences its behavior in your experience. Anxious thoughts create resistance, which manifests as delays and obstacles. Peaceful acceptance, however, allows time to flow smoothly, often revealing shortcuts and synchronicities that were invisible in your hurried state. In the second half of our tale, Karen learned to sit quietly each morning, breathing deeply before beginning her day. She discovered that by releasing her grip on time, her days began to unfold with remarkable grace. The more she trusted in divine timing, the more she found herself arriving precisely when needed, often through unexpected paths that proved more beneficial than her original plans. Her transformation was subtle, yet profound. Where once she had fought against time's current, she now moved in harmony with it. Projects that had seemed overwhelming completed themselves with ease. Opportunities appeared at perfect moments, and what she had labeled as delays revealed themselves as protective diversions. The wisdom lies not in attempting to manage time, but in surrendering to its perfect orchestration. When you align with this truth, you step into a realm where time becomes elastic, expanding or contracting to serve your highest good. Sacred practice. In any wait, whisper, all unfolds exactly when I am ready. Let these words settle into your being until you feel the tension of time dissolve into trust. Chapter 20. Receiving Grace. When Karin finally shared her troubles with the merchant, he revealed an ancient truth. Time is not a rigid master, but a faithful servant of consciousness. Your relationship with it shapes its flow. He taught her that the universe operates in divine timing, where patience compresses duration and panic stretches moments into eternities. Just as water finds its natural course, life's opportunities arrive precisely when consciousness is prepared to receive them. In the marketplace, another story unfolded that illustrated this wisdom. A farmer named Sven stubbornly refused assistance from his neighbors during harvest season. "Self-reliance is strength," he would declare, even as his crops threatened to spoil before he could gather them all. One evening, exhausted and discouraged, Sven witnessed a flock of birds descending on his neighbor's field. Instead of destroying the crop, they cleared harmful insects, protecting the harvest. This simple observation opened his eyes to nature's fundamental truth. Everything exists in harmony of giving and receiving. The next day, when his neighbors again offered help, Sven welcomed them with open arms. To his amazement, not only did the harvest finish in record time, but the yields were more abundant than ever before. The collaborative energy had somehow multiplied what seemed fixed and limited. This shift in Sven's consciousness created a ripple effect. Those he had helped began bringing him their best seeds, sharing ancient farming wisdom, and including him in cooperative ventures. His farm flourished beyond his solitary dreams, teaching him that receiving gracefully honors the circular flow of life's abundance. Just as the soil must remain open to receive rain, your consciousness must remain receptive to life's natural flow. Each gift, each gesture, each moment of support carries the universe's timing within it. To resist help is to contest the very current that brings prosperity. The wisdom handed down through generations speaks clearly. Receiving is not weakness, it is wisdom. It acknowledges the perfect orchestration of universal forces. When you accept gracefully, you declare your trust in life's timing and affirm your place in creation's endless dance of giving and receiving. Ancient practice. When complimented or gifted, answer simply, "I receive with gratitude," and breathe the joy. Part 3. The Master Key of Being. Chapter 21. Identity Becomes Reality. In a small coastal town, a singer named Luella performed nightly at a modest cafe. Though blessed with an enchanting voice, she introduced herself apologetically as just a wannabe musician. Night after night her talent drew admiring crowds, yet she remained trapped in the shadow of her own hesitation. One evening, an elderly woman lingered after the performance. Her eyes sparkled with ancient knowing as she approached Luella. "Your voice carries the song of the spheres," she said, "but your words betray you. The universe echoes what you declare yourself to be. The truth of existence flows through your words of self-definition. When you speak, 'I am,' you invoke the creative force that shaped worlds. This power does not recognize hoping to be or trying to become. It knows only the present declaration of being. Each time you define yourself, you transmit a signal that the universe must match. Your I am statements are commands to the cosmic forces, sculpting reality according to your self-image. The power lies not in wishing or wanting, but in claiming your identity with unwavering certainty." Luella began practicing this wisdom, replacing wannabe with clear statements of identity. "I am a singer. I am an artist. I am music embodied." At first, the words felt foreign on her tongue, but she persisted until they became her truth. In another part of town lived Thomas, a master craftsman who taught apprentices the art of woodworking. One day, a young man arrived, shoulders slumped, introducing himself as trying to become a woodworker. Thomas handed him a piece of cedar and said, "Before you touch this wood, declare who you are." The wood responds not to who you wish to be, but to who you know you are. The wisdom rings clear. Your identity is not a distant dream, but a present reality awaiting your recognition. The universe responds not to your aspirations, but to your declarations. When you stand firmly in your I am, the world rearranges itself to match your certainty. This truth transcends all pursuits. Whether you seek abundance, love, or mastery, begin by embodying that reality through your I am. The evidence will follow your embodiment, not the other way around. Your word becomes law in the universe that listens. The power of I am carries the force of creation itself. It is not a statement of ego, but a recognition of your divine nature expressing through your chosen form. When you declare, I am, you align with the very power that ignites stars and orchestrates galaxies. Practice. Each dawn restate who you truly are until the words feel like memory, not wish. Chapter 22. The Circle of Shared Intention. In a sunlit cathedral, where stained glass cast rainbow patterns across ancient stone, a choir leader named Gunnar gathered his singers. Though each voice held individual beauty, it was their unified spirit that would transform sound into miracle. When your thoughts align with others in harmony, the power of manifestation multiplies beyond measure. Just as a single match brings modest light, while many flames together illuminate vast spaces, collective consciousness creates with geometric force. Gunnar understood this secret. Rather than simply conducting music, he guided his choir to attune their hearts to a shared vision. Before each rehearsal, he invited them to close their eyes and feel their collective purpose, to uplift humanity through sacred song. As their intentions synchronized, remarkable shifts occurred. Their performances began drawing larger audiences. Donations flowed effortlessly. The cathedral's worn benches filled with people hungry for spiritual nourishment. The unified field of their shared vision acted as a magnetic force, drawing manifestation with multiplied power. The universe responds to the quantum force of unified thought. When minds join in harmony, believing together, the creative power intensifies exponentially. Like crystals amplifying light, each additional consciousness magnifies the manifesting frequency. In a small village, Sophia, a wise elder, understood this principle. When drought threatened their crops, she gathered the townspeople each dawn. Together, they held gratitude for rain yet to fall. Their combined appreciation created such potent energy that clouds gathered within days, blessing their fields with gentle showers. This ancient truth reveals itself through every successful movement, every lasting change. Collective vision carries unstoppable creative force. When hearts beat as one, miracles flow naturally. Your individual power multiplies when joined with others who share your dream. The key lies not in the number of people, but in the purity of their aligned intention. Even 2 or 3 souls, perfectly attuned to the same vision, can generate tremendous manifesting energy. This is the hidden power of true community, the ability to amplify each other's creative force. Like streams joining to form a mighty river, Collective consciousness shapes reality with greater momentum than any single mind. Yet this power requires neither formal gathering nor physical presence. When you hold a vision, knowing others somewhere resonate with that same dream, you tap into humanity's shared field of creative energy. Practice. Take a moment now to center yourself in stillness. Imagine a radiant ring of kindred spirits surrounding you, their hearts beating in harmony with yours. Feel your shared vision glowing brighter as each one adds their light. Let the energy build until it feels like a golden sphere of possibility embracing you all. Trust in the multiplied power of collective intention. This is how mountains move, through hearts united in purpose and love. Chapter 23. The Invisible Assistants. In a quaint mountain village, a school teacher named Frida noticed an extraordinary pattern unfolding in her life. Each morning, she would walk to her classroom without hurry or worry, trusting in life's perfect orchestration. When she needed supplies, they appeared through unexpected donations. When a student required special attention, a skilled assistant would transfer to her school at precisely the right moment. The universe operates through an intricate web of synchronicity, weaving together countless threads of possibility into a tapestry of perfect timing. What appears as coincidence to the untrained eye reveals itself as divine coordination to those who understand the deeper mechanics of creation. Every thought you release into the field of infinite intelligence sets in motion forces beyond your current perception. These forces, call them angels, divine helpers, or universal intelligence, operate continuously on your behalf. They arrange circumstances, inspire actions, and align events with an efficiency that human planning could never achieve. Your role is not to direct their methods, but to maintain the vibration of trust that allows their work to proceed unhindered. Frida discovered this truth one autumn morning when her usual route to school was blocked by construction. Instead of forcing her way through or becoming frustrated, she smiled and took an alternate path. This detour led her to encounter a retiring professor who offered his entire library to her classroom, a gift that transformed her students' learning experience. "How fortunate that road work forced me to change my route," she later told a colleague. But was it fortune, or was it the invisible orchestration of forces responding to her students' unspoken needs? The secret lies not in controlling circumstances, but in surrendering to the natural flow of divine timing. When you release your grip on how things must unfold, you allow universal intelligence to arrange outcomes far superior to those you might have planned. This is not passive waiting, but active trust in the perfect unfolding of life. As the seasons turned, Frida witnessed this principle at work again. Her school faced budget cuts that threatened their art program. Rather than struggling against the situation, she maintained an unshakable faith that all would be well. Within weeks, a local artist, who had taken that same detour past the school, offered to volunteer his time, bringing an expertise that exceeded anything they could have hired. The universe's response to your desires operates like an invisible postal system, delivering exactly what's needed at precisely the right moment. Your task is simply to maintain the clarity of your intention while trusting the delivery method to higher wisdom. Practice. State. Everything conspires for my good, picturing invisible hands clearing your road. Chapter 24. The Law Beyond Laws. In the ancient halls of a mountain monastery, a philosopher named Einar spent his days pondering life's deepest mysteries. Through years of study and contemplation, he had gathered countless theories and practices, filling notebooks with complex diagrams and elaborate systems. Yet something within him sensed these were but fragments of a greater truth. One dawn, as morning light filtered through his window, Einar realized that all his knowledge had become a maze rather than a path. In that moment, he set aside his books and sat in pure silence. As his mind grew still, the walls between concepts began to dissolve. Every teaching, every principle, every law he had studied merged into a single luminous understanding. There was only one. This truth lies at the heart of all creation. There is no separate self trying to attract desired outcomes. There is only the infinite expressing itself through countless forms. What we call the law of attraction is simply the one recognizing itself through the play of seeming duality. When you grasp this, manifestation becomes effortless because you realize there is nowhere to go and nothing to attract. You are already complete. All practices, techniques, and methods ultimately lead to this revelation. They are like fingers pointing to the moon, useful guides until you see for yourself. The separate self who thinks it must manifest its desires is itself a manifestation of the One. Your deepest nature is already whole, already abundant, already free. This was demonstrated when Einar attended a gathering of spiritual teachers, each promoting their unique approach to enlightenment. As debates arose about whose path was superior, he simply smiled, seeing how each perspective reflected the same light through different prisms. During a moment of shared meditation, the room fell into profound silence. In that stillness, all arguments dissolved. Each person touched the same timeless presence that needed no name or method. This experience reveals the ultimate simplicity awaiting beneath our complicated seeking. All paths lead to the recognition that there is only one, expressing itself as many. Your journey of manifestation is really a journey of remembering this truth. When you know yourself as the One, you naturally experience abundance, because abundance is what you are. Let this understanding simplify your practice. Rather than struggling to attract what seems separate from you, relax into your true nature as the source of all that appears. Your desires are not wrong. They are the one exploring itself through you. But their fulfillment comes not from reaching outward, but from recognizing what you already are. The ancient practice. Breathe slowly, sensing the same life in tree, breath, and thought. Merge into it quietly. Chapter 25. The Healing Tone of Compassion. In a small village by the sea, Thyra worked at her sewing table, mending torn garments with the same care she used to mend broken spirits. Each stitch she made carried an intention of healing, each thread woven with understanding. As villagers brought their tattered clothes, they found themselves sharing their tattered hopes, and Thyra listened with a heart as steady as her hands. Through countless seasons, she observed how a gentle word could smooth the wrinkles of worry from a face, just as her iron smoothed wrinkles from fabric. When storms of emotion swept through her shop, Thyra remained anchored in tranquility, her presence a lighthouse in troubled waters. The universe operates through a single principle, love's organizing power. Just as waves arrange scattered sand into perfect patterns, compassion arranges chaotic circumstances into harmonious order. This force moves beyond attraction and manifestation. It transforms discord into symphony, conflict into peace. Your thoughts create your reality, but your heart creates the quality of that creation. When you extend genuine care toward others, you activate a field of coherence that ripples through the quantum fabric of existence. This coherent field naturally reorganizes discord, much as a tuning fork brings scattered vibrations into harmony. This truth reveals itself in the story of Thyra and her neighbor Eric, a fisherman who had lost his wife to the sea. For months, Eric's grief cast dark shadows through the village. He spoke to no one. His house fell into disrepair. His boat remained anchored and unused. Rather than offering empty words, Thyra simply sat with him in silence, mending his torn nets. Day after day, she worked beside him, her steady presence a reminder that he wasn't alone. She didn't try to fix his pain. She held space for it with unwavering compassion. Gradually, like dawn breaking over still waters, Eric's spirit began to stir. The rhythm of Thyra's needle seemed to stitch something back together in his heart. One morning, he rose before sunrise and took his boat out to sea. When he returned, he brought fish for Thyra, and for the first time in months, a faint smile touched his eyes. This transformation wasn't worked through complex spiritual laws or elaborate manifestation techniques. It emerged naturally from love's presence, just as flowers turn toward sunlight. Thyra's compassion created a field of healing that allowed Eric's broken reality to reorganize itself into wholeness. When you approach life's challenges with genuine care, you tap into the universe's fundamental frequency. This isn't about forcing change or controlling outcomes. It's about allowing love's organizing principle to work through you. Like Thyra, you become a steady point of peace around which chaos naturally resolves into order. Practice. Silently bless 3 people you meet today, watching warmth ripple outward. Chapter 26. Balance in the Center. In his sunlit workshop among pine trees, Halvar crafted violins with such exquisite care that musicians whispered his instruments carried magic within their wooden hearts. Yet for years he swung between furious work and complete exhaustion, his creations reflecting this unsteady rhythm. One autumn morning, as golden light filtered through sawdust-filled air, Halvar noticed how a spider had woven its web between 2 beams. The silk strands held perfect tension, neither too tight nor too loose. In that moment, understanding dawned like the sun through morning mist. The universal law of equilibrium governs all creation. Just as a pendulum finds its natural center, all power flows from the still point between opposing forces. This balance point isn't a compromise. It's the seat of mastery itself. When you align with this principle, you discover that true power doesn't surge or strain. It maintains steady presence, like a mountain stream that neither floods nor runs dry. This is the secret of sustained manifestation, the ability to hold steady between action and stillness, between doing and being. Your creative force reaches its peak when you find this delicate equilibrium. Like a tightrope walker, you learn to adjust constantly, making micro movements that keep you centered. This isn't about perfect balance. It's about perfect response to imbalance. As Halvar absorbed this wisdom, his entire approach to violin making transformed. Instead of pushing himself to exhaustion, then collapsing into rest, he learned to work in harmony with his natural rhythms. He would sand the wood until he felt the first hint of fatigue, then pause. He would return when his energy naturally rose again. In his small village lived an elderly musician named Gerda, who had played in grand concert halls in her youth. She brought her cherished violin to Halvar for repair, an instrument that had accompanied her for 50 years. As she placed it in his hands, her eyes held both hope and worry. Halvar approached this task differently than he would have before. He worked in measured periods, never forcing progress when his energy ebbed. Between sessions, he would sit quietly with the violin, feeling its character, listening to its silent song. His hands moved with certainty born of stillness, guided by intuition that arose from perfect poise between effort and ease. When Gerda returned, she drew the bow across the strings, and tears filled her eyes. "It sings better than when it was new," she whispered. The violin's voice carried both depth and lightness, like sunlight dancing on deep water. The space between extremes holds miraculous potential, like the eye of a storm or the pivot point of a seesaw. It contains all power in perfect suspension. From this center point, manifestation unfolds with natural grace, neither forced nor neglected. Practice. Visualize standing in golden light equally distant from extremes. Breathe until still joy prevails. Chapter 27. Living the Vision. The first rays of morning light found Nellie hunched over her laptop in a quiet corner of her studio apartment. Her blog had precisely 7 followers, mostly family members who dutifully read her posts about mindful living and personal transformation. Yet something shifted that dawn when she reached for her coffee mug. Instead of her usual hesitant movements, she sat tall, shoulders back, fingertips gliding across the keyboard with quiet certainty. The universe speaks through vibration, and Nellie's entire frequency had changed. No longer did she type as someone hoping to be heard. She wrote as one who knew her words carried weight. She stopped introducing herself as an aspiring writer and simply stated, "I am a writer." When asked about her work, she spoke of her readers with warm familiarity, though they had yet to arrive. The ancient law whispers, "What you are, you attract." Within weeks, her subscriber count began to climb. Comments flowed in from strangers touched by her authenticity. A literary agent discovered her work and recognized something rare, not just in her words, but in the assured energy that infused them. The space between your current and desired reality exists only in thought. To bridge this gap requires not action, but embodiment. You must become the frequency of your vision before its physical evidence can appear. Consider Anna, who managed a small metaphysical bookshop in a coastal town. Rather than daydreaming about success, she began arranging her shop as though it were already a renowned spiritual center. She greeted each customer as if they were part of a thriving community, scheduled events with unwavering faith in full attendance, and spoke of her business with the quiet confidence of established wisdom. Within months, spiritual seekers began traveling from distant cities, drawn by an energy they couldn't explain but deeply trusted. This is the hidden truth. Reality bends to match your deepest knowing. Not your wishes, not your hopes, your knowing. When you dissolve the distance between who you are and who you wish to become, time itself conspires to manifest that unity. Awareness flows naturally to its own level, like water finding equilibrium. When you vibrate at the frequency of your fulfilled desire, the universe has no choice but to reflect that resonance back to you in physical form. This is not pretense or performance. It is energetic alignment with what already exists in the eternal now. The practice. Before bed, replay the day you wish to live tomorrow, feeling it genuine. Sleep inside that script. This ancient technique aligns your subconscious with your chosen reality. As you drift into sleep, your resistance softens, allowing new patterns to take root in fertile soil. The boundary between imagination and reality blurs, and what you hold in consciousness as you enter the dream state becomes a template for tomorrow's manifestation. Chapter 28. The Wonder Frequency. In a small workshop among cobblestone streets, Sigvard bent over his workbench, his magnifying glass revealing the intricate dance of gears within an antique timepiece. For 30 years, he had repaired watches with mechanical precision, yet lately his work felt hollow, each day blending into the next in monochrome routine. One morning, as sunlight streamed through his dusty window, it caught a tiny brass gear, transforming it into a miniature sun. Sigvard paused, truly seeing the perfection of its teeth for the first time in years. "How extraordinary," he whispered, tracing its golden circumference. That moment of pure appreciation shifted something within him. The universe responds not to what we do, but to our state of being. When wonder fills your heart, creation itself leans in to show you more. As Sigvard rediscovered amazement in the commonplace, his entire world began to shimmer with new possibility. He started noticing the mathematical poetry in spiderwebs adorning his window, the way morning dew gathered in perfect spheres on leaves, the intricate patterns of bark on trees he'd passed unseeing for decades. Each observation lifted his vibration higher, attuning him to life's hidden orchestration. This subtle shift in perception changed everything. Customers sensed his renewed enthusiasm and lingered longer, sharing stories of their treasured timepieces. His reputation for excellence spread beyond his small town, drawing collectors who recognized that his repairs contained something more than mere technical skill. They held reverence. One day, while admiring how light played through his old glass paperweight, a distinguished gentleman entered his shop, clutching a priceless pocket watch that had stumped every other watchmaker in Europe. "I heard you see magic in mechanisms," the man said. Sigvard's childlike fascination with the watch's complexity, combined with his master craftsmanship, solved its mystery within days. The universe delights in revealing itself to those who maintain beginner's eyes. Your willingness to be amazed creates an electromagnetic field that attracts synchronistic gifts. Consider the story of an elderly gardener who, after 40 years tending the same plot, suddenly noticed how seedlings danced in the breeze. This simple observation led him to discover a revolutionary method of plant cultivation that transformed his modest garden into a local wonder. When you approach life with curiosity rather than assumption, you transmit a frequency that allows the extraordinary to emerge from the ordinary. Wonder is not merely an emotional response. It is a vibrational key that unlocks reality's deeper dimensions. The art lies in sustaining this state of appreciation beyond momentary glimpses. Let your eyes feast on details others overlook. Feel gratitude for the countless miracles operating in perfect precision. Your heartbeat, the Earth's rotation, the dance of electrons that enables you to read these words. Ancient practice pause throughout your day to say, "How astonishing!" at something ordinary until enthusiasm lights your eyes. Let wonder become your natural state of being. Chapter 29. The Quiet After Creation. In a bustling newsroom where keyboards clattered and phones rang incessantly, Lovisa sat at her desk, watching her first front-page story roll off the presses. While colleagues rushed to congratulate her, she felt an unexpected urge to step away from the chaos. Finding a quiet corner by the window, she simply smiled and let the achievement sink in without a word. The universe operates through subtle frequencies, and the quieter moments after manifestation hold profound creative power. Like the stillness after a bell's ring allows its vibration to spread, silence after success anchors your desires into physical reality. When you receive what you've asked for, the natural impulse is to proclaim it, to share your joy with others. Yet there exists an ancient wisdom in remaining quiet when blessings arrive. This practice of post-manifestation silence acts as a seal, securing your good fortune into the fabric of your experience. Lovisa discovered this truth through an unexpected chain of events. After her moment of quiet gratitude, more opportunities began flowing effortlessly. Exclusive interviews, hidden sources, stories that seemed to find her rather than the other way around. She noticed a pattern. The less she spoke about her successes, the more they multiplied. One evening, after landing a career-defining interview that her colleagues had chased for months, Lovisa resisted the urge to broadcast her triumph. Instead, she sat in her garden, letting gratitude fill her heart without uttering a word. The next morning, her phone rang with 3 more high-profile sources asking to speak with her exclusively. The power of post-success silence lies in its ability to stabilize energy. When you achieve something desired, speaking too soon can scatter the concentrated force that brought it into being. Like opening an oven door too early can cause a souffle to collapse. Premature celebration can dissipate manifestation's delicate architecture. This is not about denying joy or suppressing gratitude. Rather, it's about allowing your achievements to root deeply before exposing them to the world's varying energies. Think of it as giving your manifestations time to crystallize in the sacred space of silence. The practice is simple but profound. When something you've desired arrives, pause. Let your first response be internal rather than external. Feel the fullness of gratitude in your heart without needing to voice it. This quiet appreciation acts as a magnetic force, drawing more blessings toward you while strengthening those already received. Ancient wisdom teaches that power accumulates in silence. The greatest forces in nature, gravity, magnetism, light, operate without sound. By embracing quiet after success, you align with these fundamental energies, allowing them to work more effectively through you. Practice. After any answered desire, enjoy 3 breaths of full, serene, wordless gratitude. Chapter 30. The Return to Wholeness. In the mountains where morning mist clung to ancient pines, a healer named Arvid tended to those seeking wellness. Day after day he offered remedies and counsel, yet noticed that some returned with the same ailments. Though his herbs were potent and his methods sound, something eluded both him and those he served. One dawn, as he gathered herbs in solitude, Arvid paused before a clear pool. In its mirror-like surface, he saw not only his reflection, but a truth that had waited patiently. He had been seeking completion in his service to others, believing that through healing them, he would somehow heal himself. The universe speaks in whispers, and in that moment of recognition, Arvid understood that love of self and love of source were one and the same. The void he had tried to fill through endless giving was an illusion. Nothing had ever been missing. When you discover that wholeness dwells within, the search ends and true being begins. This knowing transforms every action from seeking to expressing, from wanting to sharing. The universe does not require your striving. It awaits your recognition of what already exists. Consider how water fills every vessel completely, regardless of its shape. So too does the essence of Source fill every being, not partially, not gradually, but absolutely. Your journey is not toward completion, but toward awareness of your existing completeness. One autumn evening, as leaves turned golden in the fading light, a woman entered Arvid's cottage. Her eyes held years of searching, for health, for peace, for purpose. Instead of immediately reaching for his herbs, Arvid simply sat with her in silence. In that space of acceptance, something shifted. No words of wisdom were offered, no remedies prescribed. Yet as she left, her step was lighter, her breath easier. The woman returned weeks later, but not for healing. "Since that evening," she said, "everything has changed. My body, my home, my relationships, all have found their balance. What medicine did you give me?" Arvid smiled, knowing she had touched the same truth he had discovered. In accepting ourselves completely, we accept the perfection of all things. This is not the end of change, but the end of resistance to what is. Your completeness exists now, unchanged by circumstance, untouched by time. In recognizing this, you become a vessel through which harmony naturally flows. Every situation you encounter becomes an opportunity not to gain, but to express the wholeness you already are. Place a hand upon your heart tonight and say, "I am complete. I am home." If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Through these chapters, you have traversed the ancient pathways of creation, discovering that the most sacred knowledge was never hidden in secret chambers or guarded by mystical orders. The true 33rd degree has always resided within your own consciousness, the direct connection between your thoughts and the fabric of reality itself. What you once perceived as an external law was merely the echo of your own creative nature. The law of attraction reveals itself not as some distant force, but as the very rhythm of your being, pulsing with each heartbeat, flowing through every breath. You have always been the author of your experience, the artist painting with the colors of thought and emotion upon the canvas of existence. The power you sought was never separate from your essence. In recognizing this truth, you understand that manifestation requires no force, no strain, no desperate reaching. It flows naturally from your state of being, from the quiet certainty that dwells in your heart. As you embrace this wholeness, each desire transforms from an external quest into a natural expression of your infinite nature. Your consciousness, aligned with the creative force of the universe, becomes the fertile soil from which all possibilities bloom. The universe responds not to your wishes, but to your certainty, to the unwavering knowledge of who you truly are. This wisdom was never forbidden. It was simply waiting for your recognition. The door you thought was locked was merely closed, waiting for you to remember that you held the key all along. Beyond it lies not some external power, but the quiet center of your own being, where creation itself delights in expressing through your unique perspective. Now you understand. The greatest secret is that there was never any secret at all. You are, and have always been, the living embodiment of creation itself.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.